Okay, I'm in Chicago at the NBA Veterans Conference. This is my first time ever being in Chicago. Today is Friday, October 12th, and it's about 8 p.m. And so the conference actually went really well, but initially I didn't think it was going to go so well. That's because I registered late. I'll talk about that later. So I've heard of the Military Veterans Conference, but I wasn't planning to attend, and here's the reason why. So things are going pretty well with IBM, and it looks like I might get an offer from them. And so what I was trying to do, what I told myself is, think of the companies that I would rather work for other than IBM. Which companies are they? I mean, IBM obviously in technology, while it's not a cool technology firm such as Google or Apple, I thought that IBM is where I'd want to be. And there's only a few places that I would rather work other than IBM should I get an offer. And those places include Google and Apple, General Electric and their leadership rotational program, or Accenture as a consultant, which is kind of not exactly my thing, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. And so because of this, the only sort of diversity conference that had Apple and Google is going to be the Ramba conference, which is in Boston. So I told myself, hey, no matter what, I'm going to the Ramba conference, and I'll be there, and I'll be talking to, I'll talk to Apple, I'll talk to Google, I'll talk to Microsoft, because really, other than those firms I named, like it's possible I could see myself at, say, a Microsoft, but it would have to be like the perfect job, such as a technical account manager, and I'll talk about that a little bit more later. Or maybe like Dell or HP, but it have to be the perfect job, doing exactly what I want to do. Otherwise, I wouldn't want to be at those firms. So I want to talk a little bit about how the conference went, because it really went well, and just I guess I'll talk about who I talked to. So one of the best things is I did talk to Google. And so, oh yeah, so before coming here, I didn't think the conference was going to go very well, and I'll tell you why, because I didn't register until late. And because I didn't register until late, I didn't get invited to pretty much any receptions or interviews or anything. And I was upset, so last night, Google had this 3-hour-long reception where you can talk to Googlers, and they had this special thing set up where you could do a mock interview with them today, but you had to be at the reception tomorrow. Now, I didn't get invited because I registered late. In fact, when I registered, it had actually closed. But I emailed the guy and I said, hey, look, I really need to be here. I really think I'd be a great candidate here at your conference. I'm an MBA veteran. I'm a second year, so I might not have the opportunity to come next year. Please, please, please let me come. They did. I was here. But I submitted my stuff so late that none of the companies ever saw my resume or knew anything about me. And so I came here, no invites to any receptions, no interviews, anything. And I was really upset about that because I really thought it was an opportunity lost. I know that if I would have registered, let's say last month, and submitted my resume, I mean, Google, I know, Microsoft, all these firms would have been targeting me. Some of these companies had mock interviews here, did actually have interviews here, which I didn't know. And so I was really upset. So last night, I went downstairs and I said, okay, I'm not invited to the Google event, but I'm going to try to get in anyway. Well, the people who host this conference had a table set out right outside the door and was like, hey, if you're not invited tonight, if you don't have a specific invitation, you can't get in. And I tried to be slick. I thought about changing my clothes to try to get around it, but it just was not going to happen. And I was really upset. So, but this morning, I talked to a guy, Peter Sherman, who he was working in Los Angeles doing his internship at IBM while I was in Houston. And he was like, look, man, I got invited to the Google thing last night. They have a thing where you can do a mock interview with them today, Friday, but you have to put your name on a list. Well, I was trying to find out where the list was, but they took it. Anyway, so I ended up talking. Google is one of the premium platinum sponsors of this event because this has only been here, a military conference, for 5 years. And Google has been a sponsor for 4 of those 5 years. And so an executive at Google gave a presentation, and then I went up and talked to him afterwards. He was a Navy SEAL. He kind of looks like he's maybe Latino mixed with African American, I'm not sure. But I went up to him a little bit afterwards, and then he said, hey, Larry, I think I remember your name. You were at the event last night, right? And I said, sure, of course I was. And then he said, all right, well, why don't you go, he said, did you put your name on the interview list? And I said, oh, I didn't have a chance to do that. He's like, look, go outside the door real quick. He handed me his business card and said, go outside the door and go get on the interview list. So I walked out there. I got to the guy that was holding the interview paperwork, and he was like, look, we're pretty packed. We can't really put you on the list. And I said, well, listen, please put me on the list. And, he said, well, we're really, really busy. I'm not sure if we'll be able to. And I said, well, can I just please tell you a little bit about my story and why I think I should be on the list? He said yes, but then somebody interrupted me. I never got a chance to talk to him. Anyway, he put me on the list. That's fine. I came back for the interview. It was a mock interview, about 25 minutes. It went well. I was happy about it. And one of the things I did is, so the guy that gave me his card, the Googler, the executive, he gave me his business card, and this is it right here. I'll try to get close enough so you can see. That's the back of it, of course, and I'm trying to illustrate something here. So I'm not sure whether you can see, but it has a lot of Braille on it. It has Braille. Okay, so let me get to the point. So this guy, his name is Harry Wingo. He has Braille on his card. Now, I can't read Braille. And I thought, boy, wouldn't it be amazing if I can go to the interview and say, hey, Harry Wingo just gave me his card 20 minutes ago, and it has Braille on the back. And because of the power of Google, I was able to figure out what this means in Braille. So that was my strategy. I did the interview. I forgot to bring it up, which kind of sucks. So that wasn't exactly the plan. I had this great plan to be like, yeah, I nailed it. And I said this. Anyway, so I forgot to bring it up. But I did go talk to this guy, Harry, and I said, hey, listen, you gave me a card, and I can tell you exactly what this means in Braille. And it's not because I have family members who are blind. It's because I was able to find it through the power of Google search. And he was like, that is awesome. So anyways, I'm going to email him. I'll talk to him about that, and that's great. So I'm short on time, so let me go. I did talk to Microsoft. They have a position opening up, technical account manager, which I think would be a great fit for me. So what they do is it is like an account manager. You work directly with the client, let's say Walmart, which is kind of what I wanted to do with IBM without the sales. So you're assigned to a client, and you you work with the client, you manage the relationship with them, and you manage the account, but you don't have the pressure of having to do sales. Somebody else does the sales. You're just there to make sure whatever it is that Walmart wants, or I don't know, Procter & Gamble or whoever, you're the one who does it. I also talked to GE. So GE has an experienced rotational leadership program, and I was really excited about it. I met a guy who was on a rotational program. He's a brother, and he lives in Chicago right now, but he's moving to Houston. I thought it would be perfect. I talked to him afterward, tried to connect with him. I don't know if we really connected, but he gave me his email. I'm going to follow up. I think it's a really good opportunity because he's in Houston. I also went over and talked to Intel. Now, Intel was here primarily only recruiting for finance, and so, but I talked to the HR lady. I told her my story. I showed her my resume. I said, hey, look, I worked at Intel. I finished, first quartile in my rank group 3 years in a row. I still have those performance reviews. I did a really good job while I was there. This would be a good fit for me. Now, I don't actually, as you notice at the top, when I was talking about companies, I didn't mention Intel at all. And that's because I really don't want to go back there. I want to do something better, but I definitely would like to have an offer from them, like I did this summer. And also, I talked to Sony. And Sony has a case competition in San Diego. Ooh, time is almost up, so I got to go fast. And I really, that's a pretty good opportunity. IBM, I talked to IBM. So I met the lady, so I've been talking to this lady with IBM. Her name's Haji. I finally met her face-to-face this morning. She's like the main recruiter, HR person in charge of where you go and who you get assigned to. So I finally met her and talked to Accenture. In fact, I have an interview with Accenture next week in Boston. Accenture is a consulting firm, so in the hierarchy of MBAs, the number one MBA job is management consultant. As soon as you graduate, you automatically are making $190,000 a year. The thing is, you work 95 hours a week, which is ridiculous. It's like 12 or 14-hour days every single day, like 7 days a week. Anyway, the second is consultant. Management consultant is very big. Now, what that is you travel all the time. So you travel 4 days a week. You go and you help a client. So I would leave Houston or wherever I lived and go help a client, again, let's say Procter & Gamble. And you pretty much are there with them, telling them how to make their business better. They pay Accenture $300 an hour for you to be there and tell them what they're doing wrong in their business and how to fix it. Very, very tough job to do, very prestigious. I never looked into it before because normally you have to have a 700 GMAT, which I don't have. But they are recruiting for military. I know somebody else who's done it, so I'm looking into it. I'm almost out of time, so I got to show you the view. Also, Yum Brands, which is the company that does Taco Bell and Pizza Hut and Long John Silver's, they also contacted me. They want to do an interview, and I actually have an interview with IBM coming up this Wednesday. So I want to show you this view I have. I'm short on time, so I'll try to go fast. This is a really nice hotel. This is downtown Chicago. You almost can't see because I have the other light on, but I'm on the 19th floor in this hotel. I mean, it's just a Holiday Inn. It's nothing too fancy, but it's nice. And this is what Chicago looks like at night. I mean, extremely fancy place and lots of sky-rising buildings. Okay, that's it. Bye.